It's maybe the only job in the country harder than being president of the United States is being a mom, especially under this administration, because they're making everything harder. And tonight we have a mom here in the audience, Barbara, that's behind us, that has a question for you.
Hi, Barbara. Hello back there.
Good evening. Good evening, President Trump.
Thank
you for taking our question.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara. I'm a mom of 3, a grandmother of 7, and 3 great-grands, a registered nurse, retired nurse. So I know the cost that goes into raising children and running a household.
Yeah.
People just can't survive now. How are you going to bring down the cost of food and groceries?
Good. Very good. Thank you. So we have to start always with energy. Always. I don't want to be boring about it, but there's no bigger subject. It covers everything. If you make donuts, if you make cars, whatever you make, energy is a big deal, and we're going to get that. It's my ambition to get your energy bill within 12 months down 50%. If I can do that, we've done a hell of a job. 5-0, not 15, 50. Interest rates are going to follow, and actually they're going to follow for another reason. The economy is now not good, and interest rates, you'll see they'll do the rate cut and all the political stuff tomorrow, I think. And, you know, will he do a half a point? Will he do a quarter of a point? But the reason is because the economy is not good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. But we're going to get interest rates down, and we got to work with our farmers. Our farmers are being decimated right now. They're being absolutely decimated. And, you know, one of the reasons is we allow a lot of farm product into our country, and we're going to have to be a little bit like other countries. We're not going to allow so much we're going to let our farmers go to work. And I don't know if you remember, I love the farmers because, you know, I had many meetings as president. I have this gorgeous room with this beautiful table that seats about 35 people. And I was with the farmers. Usually everybody wants something. They all want subsidy. But I was with the farmers, and I think you might have been there, actually, Sarah. I said, look, fellas, we're going to get you such a beautiful subsidy, meaning I'm going to do things. And one of the people raises and, sir, honestly, we don't want a subsidy. This is the first time this ever happened to me. Everyone wants, they want money. They want to build windmills. We want money with these windmills. Anyway. But you know what? It was amazing. He said, almost tears in his eyes, they were getting decimated. We don't want a subsidy. We just want to play, you know, a fair, level playing field. And I said, nobody's ever said that. And I have many industries and many groups of people from different things. You know, they do all different things. It's probably the most dramatic I've ever seen. He didn't want anything. All he wanted was to be able to compete fairly. And the problem we have is other countries, they treat us very badly in that way also. They really are. And, you know, sometimes the worst countries are our so-called allies. I say so-called because in many ways they're not allies at all. They take advantage of us. They really take advantage. But we're going to do with the farmers. We're going to do what we have to do with the farmers. We're going to put our farmers. And do you remember the expression? When I was negotiating with China, China said, well, we're not going to deal with this because they never had anybody negotiate. They did whatever they want. They just took us like, you know, for a bunch of suckers. But I told the farmers it's going to be very good negotiators. You're going to suffer for 6 months, and then they're going to fold. And that's exactly what happened. They folded, and they agreed to buy $50 billion. You know, you might have heard the story. I said, how much? I went to the Secretary of Agriculture. How much did they buy? He said 15. I thought he said 50. So when they're ready to make a deal at 15 billion, I said, no, I want 50. That's what they've been buying. He said, no, it's 15. I said, you said 50. And he said, no, we said 15. I said, that's okay. Ask for 50 anyway. And we got it. We got it. And they buy a lot of our product. But so it's just a great interest rates, energy, and common sense. A lot of it's common sense. Everything. You know, I like to say we're the party of common sense. We want to have a strong border. How about that? We want a strong, you know, all of a sudden they've changed. They didn't want any border. They said walls don't work. Two things work. What are the two things? Wheels and walls. You know, if I do, there's a gorgeous computer down here. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be obsolete. A friend of mine is in that business. He hates it. He said, we come up with a new model, and it's the greatest. About 3.5 weeks later, the damn thing's totally obsolete. The only thing that never gets obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall is what we're talking about now. And, you know, we built hundreds of miles of wall. We then added more than I ever said I was going to do. And then we had that bad election result, that disgusting result. And they never put it up. You know what they did with it? They sold it for 5 cents, and it was expensive wall. It was exactly what the Border Patrol wanted, with the anti-climb plate on top, which I always hated because I didn't like the look of it. But, you know, they demonstrated it. We had mountain climbers and a couple of drug climbers, too. These guys are amazing. They put 100 pounds of drugs on the back, and they go up the wall like it's nothing. But they couldn't get over the plate. So all of a sudden I said, okay, I'll put the plate on. I didn't like it. I liked it better without the plate, but it didn't work quite as well. So this is what we did. We had it. We had the best. We had a thing called Remain in Mexico. You don't have to be a genius to know. Remain in Mexico is a very good thing. And you think that was easy to get. I think Tijuana, Mexico was probably the fastest growing city in the history of the world. Okay, they had hundreds of thousands. They couldn't come in. When they got in, they let everybody pour into our country. The border, just to finish with the border, when I talk about energy, to me it's exciting, but to a lot of people it's not. But it gets exciting because we'll bring down your costs, all that. But what people want to hear, and I believe when I got elected, I believe it was the border that was the biggest thing, and I fixed it, and I did a great job. And I wanted to mention it in 2020, and my people would say, sir, nobody cares about the border. They don't care because I had it fixed. Now I got to fix it again. I believe the border is of the greatest interest. When you look at what's happening in Aurora, okay? Take a look at Aurora. When you look at what's happening in Ohio, the great state of Ohio, I love it. I'm way the hell up. I wish I was up 18 points in your state, but we are up. We are up. I think when people hear what I have to say, I don't know how you can possibly lose it. I'll tell you this, and I'll say this for Michigan. If I don't win, you will have no auto industry within 2 to 3 years. It'll all be gone.